All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Meg James. I'm the Executive Officer for the Hilton Head Area Home Builders Association, and today we are starting our first HBA COVID-19 Information Exchange video series. This is a concept that we came up with that we are hoping can bring some information to you guys that is pertinent to your company during this uncertain time, and hopefully a resource that will help you navigate our new reality. So today's series, we have a couple different builder perspectives. On this call currently, we have Matt Lyle with Lyle Construction representing our residential side. We have Dave Gall with Gall Custom Homes and Remodeling representing the remodelers. And hopefully we'll have Jay Frazier with Frazier Construction representing the commercial side and giving you a different perspective from what's going on in their worlds. Before we get started, I did just want to update everyone on what HBA staff is doing behind the scenes. Lynn, our office manager, is calling all of you, checking in, just seeing what's going on. A lot of what she's hearing is that you would like to have a little assistance in letting everybody know that you're open for business, maybe with just different hours. So we are working out a way to figure out how to do that. Sarah's been sharing your posts on our social media sites. Sarah's also keeping everyone updated with daily, sometimes 2 times a week, e-blasts with information that's coming from our local, state, and national. There's different resources in there, so stay tuned. She's also updating our Facebook page, and there is a spot on our website under Building Industry News. It's under the Member Resource tab. All the information is there. So, and it's right now it's spread out by jurisdiction. So if you're looking for an update with the town of Bluffton, you find their logo and the information is below it. Really great resources. She's working hard to keep it updated. So I encourage you to utilize those and to send us any information that you want to get out. We are here to help you relay that. In addition, I have been in constant communication with our local building departments. They've been really great at communicating with me weekly, daily. We know that now news is coming out hourly, and they've been extremely helpful. So any changes at the building department as far as inspections or permits have been relayed, and we are trying to, again, to keep that information updated on our website. So stay tuned in there, or just give me a call. If you have any concerns, you hear any rumors, call me. I can set your mind at ease. The last thing that we're doing is working with our state association, who has the ear of the governor, and then our local leaders, mayors, council members, to just make sure that our industry is considered essential, and that as they're making the tough decision to determine whether or not we should shelter in place or be safe at home, that our industry is again considered essential, and we won't have to worry about any job sites being left idle or folks out of work, projects stopped, no one being able to move in. So far, communications have remained open, and I really appreciate everyone that's communicating with me. So without further ado, we've put a couple questions to these guys, very basic, just, what are you doing to keep your company and your clients safe? How has your business been affected in the last 2 weeks? And then finally, what are you doing to prepare for the future? And if you've got any tips, tricks, resources that you're utilizing that we can share with the membership at large. I know folks are just looking for something to lean on. So if this is nothing else than to let you know you're not alone, that we're in this together, I think then it's doing something good. So Matt, we'll get started with you and let you share what you've got going on.
Meg, thank you. It has truly been a rapidly evolving environment that we're working in. It seems like that we're evaluating our processes and procedures on almost a daily basis, and sometimes almost an hourly basis as new information is coming out. You mentioned earlier about construction being an essential industry, and I very strongly feel that it is. But with that, I think comes some essential responsibilities that we each have as leaders, owners, managers within the industry. As we continue our operations, even on a limited basis, I do think that we have to implore upon our trade partners, our staff, our superintendents, our vendors to take social distancing and personal sanitation recommendations very seriously. I've taken it upon myself to create what I hope is a company culture that promotes that and demands that. It is very difficult at this point in time to manage some of the expectations and pressures that we all have historically dealt with. We're facing pressures from our clients to maintain schedules that we talked about back in September. We have cash flow pressures that we have to maintain that are oftentimes kind of dictated by project flow. But as we face this crisis as a nation, to me, those have taken a significant step back in terms of what our priorities are. In essence, just kind of done a hard reset on how we're managing our business. We're telling our customers that we can't guarantee project completions, and doing so for two reasons. One, we're dialing back the density of trade professionals that are on our job sites, which is reducing our daily output. Right now, I'm limiting it to one interior trade in a home at a time. If the job site's large enough, we'll have an exterior trade working outside, but our job site population is greatly down. Secondly, our supply stream is unpredictable. Our suppliers have taken remote working seriously, and many of the supply houses have reduced staff and reduced ability to process orders and even ship orders. So that's affecting the materials that we work with. With that in mind, we've just basically had to dial back on schedule completions, and in doing so, it takes a lot of pressure off the job site and allows us to act in the responsible manner that I feel that we need to act in. One of the things that we've done in terms of just kind of changing the way we operate business, and it's relatively simple and it's not painful, and that is just we're ordering product well in advance. As I just was talking about with the realities of suppliers being dialed back, getting product in, getting orders in, allowing more time for processing and shipping is something that has helped us over the last week. We started doing that 2 weeks ago. We've also taken a step to warehouse product ourselves and have it within our control looking into the future, where if we do have further disruption, that we have the appliances, we have the fixtures, we have those things sitting in our warehouse so that we can get them to the job site and still keep moving forward. Another thing that we're doing with respect to cash flows is most of my projects are new construction, single family homes, and most of them have financing partners that the client has selected. And with construction financing, there's often draw schedules that dictate payments at certain milestones and a certain number of payments throughout the course of the project. But as I look forward and I think about cash flow and I project any potential disruptions that we may see in our overall business economy, I have been inclined to request draws more frequently from banks so that we have less financial exposure on every individual job site. With that, there's a potential cost to my client because there are a set number of draw cycles that they have negotiated as part of their loan package, which above that set number are often at an excessive cost or at excess cost. Costs typically aren't that expensive, $150 to $250 a draw. That's something that we're willing to pay if we get above the typical draw cycle or the number of draws within a project. It gives me some comfort just to have less of our money sitting on a job. The other thing that we're doing, we're just staying in close conversation with our vendors, especially our smaller vendors. And at this point in time, being mindful of what their cash flows are. And rather than dropping a check in the mail, offering to deliver a check if it's getting to Thursday and we know they may need that money for Friday payroll. So those are just a couple little things that we're doing as far as job site practices and company practices. But the biggest thing is just, it's the hard reset on what expectations are, and what it is that we can do. And I do feel, as I started off my comments, that it's on us to set the tone, set the standard, voluntarily. Meg passed on a story a minute ago to me privately. One of our elected officials basically said that they're looking at what's going on in the marketplaces, and the marketplace being the business environment, but the market's actions are dictating what the legislatures will be enacting. So this is our time to set a safe standard, to operate our job sites in a responsible manner so that we can continue to do so without mandates. So that's just kind of a few things that we're doing. I don't know if you have any questions about any of that or anything that you want me to dive a little bit deeper into.
I don't think so. I really liked just your simple tip on having one interior trade. I've heard having one trade on the job site, but when you made it just even that much more specific, interior trade versus exterior trade, that you can still have people working with social distancing. So I liked that a lot. And then just this new reality, hard reset on expectations at large, and that it is up to us. Our local leaders are looking to us to be socially responsible when they're making their decisions on whether or not to shut down, to shelter in place. So we need to be respectful of that and do it for ourselves, for our clients, for our families, and for the ability to keep working. So I think, Dave, do you want to take it over?
Sure, Matt, very good points too. I compliment you on that. Good perspective. But so remodeling then, basically we have three types of projects going on right now. One is interior remodeling, which is a bulk of my business. The other where the client is actually living here at this point. And so we're in the house with them during the day. The second is absentee owners, whether they're rental properties or second homes, and the client's in another state, so they're not here. So it lessens the customer or the client contact with our vendors. And lastly, there would be, I'd categorize the third one as exterior work, which is even if the customer is there, if we're outside the home completely, there's a lot less chance of customer, social distancing, customer contact there. So interesting enough, this year started off probably be one of my best years ever with respect to business and business volume. And when this whole virus situation came about, we basically started scrambling to try to get the projects completed as quickly as possible, especially those where we were in the house with the client. We're just about finished up with that at this point. The ones where clients are displaced or away, we're still working hard on, but we put more of our efforts towards the ones where the people really don't want us in the house. And be honest with you, I don't want to be in their house with this situation right now. So I think that going forward, we'll probably, until this situation calms down with the virus, we will probably not take on any new work with where we have to be in the house with a client. We'll only do it if they're absentee owners and somewhere else and they're not living there at the time. We can easier with the jobs that we're working on that where the owners aren't here, we can clean our way out, clean and sanitize our way out of the house when we're done with the job. But as Matt pointed out, we are getting quite a few interruptions in business, be it from vendors or materials, whatever it may be, orders that are placed. But and that's kind of hurting our schedule. So it's been very difficult to schedule trades like plumbers, electricians to finish up things when we just don't know when we're going to get items at this point. And they all need some notice too. There's still a lot of work that's kind of in completion out there or in force and working towards completion. So it's been very, very difficult for that. So It's been a big cultural change for us. As Matt said, to create some parameters by which you're working. My thing is, first of all, is I talk to every owner of every company who works on my job and said, look, if anybody comes to work and they cough or sneeze, pack up and go home, because we don't need to possibly contaminate a situation with some other workers there or with owners if the owners happen to be in the house. Also, I think I have to be more vigilant when I'm on a job site, kind of looking at people and trying to see if they display any symptoms that it would be of concern or so forth. So it's been difficult for me to get around to the jobs. I try to get there, especially if they're going into somebody's house where they're there, to kind of see, what is happening there, what if anybody displays those signs that might be of concern. And obviously we're going to hear about it from our customer there. So the other item I try to do too is, it's kind of interesting, in talking to quite a few of the workers and asking them what their opinion on all this is. And what's interesting is, although there's always the fear of not working and not getting a paycheck, a lot of them have families and they don't want to be exposed and bring that home to their families. So, they're sort of reluctantly working, I would say, because they have to. But given the choice, I think a fair percentage of them, maybe less than half, would probably say, no, I'd rather, stay home and not work and just shelter in place right now till this thing blows over, because of the fear I have for my family. And I kind of feel the same way about that. My wife, every day, she doesn't want me to go to work, but I feel that obligation. I got to complete these jobs for the clients, and I have to go out in the field to do that. But, again, best practice, social distancing, sanitation, cleaning your hands every trip and so forth. That's what we do. So again, going to the future, if projects come along in the near future that are with absentee owners, we'll take it. If they're outdoor jobs like decks or clean additions where we don't have to go into the house, we'll probably take them on. But I don't know that I'll be taking on anything that might put a client or worker in close contact at this point until this settles down.
I think that this is our new reality, and that's what we're hearing from most of our associate members as well, just that projects have been delayed. They're fearing that they'll be halted, but they're also wanting to protect themselves and their families. So I think this is all very natural. Something that the HBA has put together, and I know at least a couple of our builders have taken advantage. We've created some signage for the job sites. And Dave, maybe one of the signs that we created is in regards to inspections. We were still getting words from our inspectors that people on the job sites were trying to engage with them, and they want to maintain more than that 6 foot. They'd rather just get there, do the inspection, do their job. So we've got signs in English and Spanish for the job sites that just encourage folks, subs on the job site. If you see an inspector, don't approach him. Sit in your vehicle if at all possible. Give them the space they need so they can do their job and get in and get on their way and avoid any contact. And then they've got some other great toolbox tips that's come out of NHB with some CDC guidelines that help with identifying if someone shows symptoms, or for someone else to identify symptoms within themselves, and then just simple reminders, protocols, things that you wouldn't think of. So we're putting those signs together. There's a box outside of the HBA office that's covered. The signs are laminated, so people can pick those up if interested. If you happen to go there and there isn't any left, just give me a call, shoot us an email. We can print that out for you. We're happy to do that, just to continue to communicate with everybody on the job sites and working on the jobs that, we're in this together, but let's all be socially responsible so we can make it through this as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Meg, I wanted to point one other thing out, as it relates to keeping the company and clients safe. every day, every day, I get about 10 to 20 emails from different companies that talk about the virus and how they're handling it and so forth. And I take the time to read those because you can glean some very helpful ideas out of those emails and implement them and, you know, send them off to people who are working for your vendors and possibly even your clients. So that is a good source, you know, even beyond National Home Builder Association or a local HBA, state HBA. So I just want to point that out, that I take those seriously and I take the time to read them.
Yes. Matt, do you have any last comments?
You know, my last comment is, it's just a point in time. I keep going back to the hard reset. We have to, I'm going to speak for me personally. It's been easier for me once I have completely changed what my expectations are in terms of daily output, daily progress, and milestones. It's been easier for me to cope with this. And I've very much tried not to pressure those that are working for me and with me to do anything outside their comfort zones. And that, you know, our health and safety is always foremost, but especially right now in ways that we just never really thought of before. So, you know, that's all I'm really going to kind of leave with is, you know, this has been it's been a global phase shift, and it would be selfish of me not to shift my expectations accordingly.
I agree. All right. Well, I think we are going to add or attempt to add Jay's comments in later, because I know just perspectives from the commercial industry side are going to be different from both residential and remodeling. And then stay tuned. Some of the other series ideas that we have outlined are to have an accountant and an HR person on to talk through, you know, the difference in furloughing employees and laying them off, and to help navigate the details of the new FMLA programs that they've put out. And we'll have somebody talking about construction law, liability, and then lenders and realtors on. So that's kind of our idea for moving forward, and we hope you guys will tune in. But thank you, Matt and Dave, for being on the call with me today. And stay safe and stay sanitized.
Thank you.